Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to The Brian and Sherry Show with Brian Shepard and Sherry Johnson. Brought to you weekly on Blog Talk Radio, Facebook, YouTube, and on the Brian and Sherry app. Visit briansherryshow.com for more. Now here's Brian and Sherry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Brian here by myself, but I won't be by myself for much longer because I'll be talking with guest and friend, author Sylvia Shults. So just give me 1 second here. I am attempting to go on Facebook Live. I'm running a little bit behind. So just give me 1 second. Oops. All right, done. And going live. There we go. Okay, let's see here. Okay, anyway, so we figured that out. So I am currently live, on Facebook Live, and everyone is watching. Hello, everyone. I'm just going to close my office door. There we go. Okay. Whew. Oh. Hello to everyone. Oh, Jesus. My office is falling apart. Okay. So hello to everyone who has called in. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we have Sylvia Shults. Sylvia Shults is watching me. Hello, Sylvia. Hello to my grandmother. My aunt is watching. Sylvia, don't forget, I can add you to this video right here, and everyone would be able to see you. So you're going to have to let me know if you want to do it that way. Or I can just simply call you on the radio. So, yeah, hi. So anyway, we're going to be talking with Sylvia Shults here pretty soon about her book. I've blasted it all over Facebook. I've told everyone about it. I even bought it myself digitally for my iPad. So I'm very excited to start reading that. So we're just waiting. I don't know what I'm waiting for. So anyways, Sherry is unfortunately in the process of moving. So she was supposed to have internet ready at her house. And unfortunately, they've rescheduled for Monday. So she unfortunately is not going to be part of this show. So I'm kind of sad. So, but she did want to tell me to let Sylvia know that she is very, very sorry that she is missing this show. She so wanted to be part of this show, and unfortunately she just can't. So she wanted to tell you, she said hello, and hopefully she gets to talk to you at some point when you come back on our show again, which I'm pretty sure you will. But yeah, so if you're just tuning in, I'm live on Facebook, which you can follow us by going to facebook.com /Brian.Sherry Show. That's where we are right now, live, and everyone's watching me. And we will be talking to Sylvia Shults pretty soon here. So, what else? I'm just waiting for more people to come on. So, yeah. So, Sylvia, am I still calling you, or would you like to be part of this Facebook Live video so everyone can see you and actually hear you maybe a little bit better? I'm not exactly sure. So, actually, no. No, I don't want to do that. I should have you on the radio. That's where you should be. So, never mind. So, hello, Gary. So we're going to be starting pretty soon. So hopefully everyone's holiday went very well. We just got past Thanksgiving. We had Black Friday yesterday. I did not go out shopping. I hope most people stayed home because it was just a nightmare from what I've heard anyways. Hello, Dan. Daniel Payton just joined us. And people are smart and shop at home. Shop online. Shop on Amazon. Buy a book. And we have a couple of affiliates on our website, and they're having some deals as well. So we're going to post some of those for Cyber Monday. So we will let everybody know when we're posting those on our website so you can grab some shopping done or whatever. Hello, Daniel. Will not be on much till around 9:30. Oh, okay. You won't miss too much. So, yeah. All right. Anyways. Whew. Oh. Okay. I am. How are you calling me? Oh, you're calling me on Messenger. Oh, I'm sorry. That wouldn't have worked, Sylvia. That wouldn't have worked. So, I know you're trying to call me. Just give me a second, and I'll call you. Um, don't worry, I'm going to be calling you. But anyways, I know you're trying to call me, and now she's writing to me. So, I'm just wondering what she's writing. Yeah. I shut down the video on my phone so I can take your call when it comes. I see several folks are watching. Yay. Oh, okay. Yes, I'm going to be calling her in just a couple of minutes. So I'm really, really excited. Like I said, I've posted it on Facebook for everyone to see, along with Richard Fisher's books and Daniel's books and Sylvia's, which she's going to be coming on and talking about. So this is out of the norm for her. For me it is anyways, because when we talk about Sylvia Shults, we normally have her on for Halloween time because she's into the paranormal. That's what she writes. And she's also a paranormal investigator. So for her to write something regarding Christmas, it was a bit of a twist. So I obviously had to have her on and talk about her book. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So it's The Spirits of Christmas, and it's called The Dark Side of the Holidays. So The Spirits of Christmas, The Dark Side of the Holidays. So it's a collection of different stories, but I'm going to let her explain all of that. So I'm going to call her in just a couple of minutes. And we'll get right to the interview. So a shout out to Sherry. I hope the move is going well. I'm sorry that you're not able to participate in tonight's show, but she will be hopefully on tomorrow. Tomorrow is our last show of the season, and then we're completely done, and I can't wait for that day to come. Unfortunately, I know it sounds bad, but it's actually a good thing. So I can't wait. So yeah, but anyways. So, oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that if you want more information about our guest tonight, you can go to her website, which is www.sylviashults with an S, not a Z, .com. There you'll find all of the books that she has written, also more information about her. So, yay. So, hello to everyone watching. So, all right. Anyways, oops. So, without further ado, I'm actually going to call her. I don't exactly know how because here we go. I'm going to write down her phone number. So bear with me, people, here. me write down her phone number here. All right. All right, Sylvia, I am calling you right now. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to get off the video here. So I'm gonna do this. So why do I want to search? I don't want to search. Oh, here it is. Oh, okay. All right, I'm calling. So hopefully it'll. Oh wait, should I have the 1 in there? Yeah, probably. 1. Let's see what happens. It's ringing.
Hello.
Hello, it worked.
Hey, ain't technology grand?
Well, sometimes.
Ugh.
Yeah. But anyways, you are on. Yay. So.
Yay! We finally connected. Hooray! And thank you to everyone who tuned in. This is wonderful. Hello to all the listeners.
Yes. Well, and as you can see, because you were watching earlier, I mean, a lot of people watch me on Facebook Live, and they watch the show, which Sherry and I do. So the Facebook Live thing I really didn't want to do, but Sherry said, oh, it'll attract more people. So it's actually worked. So, yeah, I absolutely love it. So they can hear you, and
Marvelous.
This is great. So, yeah. So welcome back. It's kind of weird because I was telling people that when I talk about Sylvia Shults, it's normally around Halloween time because of the books that you write.
Yes.
So to have you more towards Christmas because it's, I just said it's Christmas with a twist. So
you can't escape me, Brian.
And that is okay. That is quite all right. So the spirits of Christmas, the dark side of the holidays. Why Christmas?
Well, that is a really good question. Until you get to start thinking about it and realize that Christmas is really a dark time of year. It's only in the past, 100 years or so that we've gotten used to the idea of Christmas with Christmas trees and lights and pretty tinsel and all that sort of stuff. Before that, Christmas was the darkest part of the year. I mean, you've got the shortest days and the longest nights, and everybody knows the nights, that's when the monsters come out. So, yeah. But, yeah, the tradition of actually telling ghost stories at Christmas started off with the Victorians. I mean, the Victorians loved ghost stories at Christmas. They were kind of predisposed to that sort of thing because, remember, in the Victorian age, that was the age of spiritualism and trying to contact the other side in a really systematic way. So they were very open to the idea of ghost stories in general. So the Victorians really took off with that tradition of telling ghost stories at Christmas.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, it was the Victorians who came up with the idea of having ghost story anthologies. A lot of these Victorian anthologies read like an AP English textbook. I mean, you've got M.R. James, you've got Arthur Conan Doyle, you've got Charles Dickens contributing to these anthologies. You've got Edgar Allan Poe. Doyle actually introduced the character of Sherlock Holmes in one of these Christmas anthologies. And it was very popular for people, just general, run-of-the-mill people, not necessarily authors, to make collections of these true ghost stories and keep them and haul them out at Christmas and add to them year after year. As a matter of fact, some of these stories were so old that they kind of took on almost an urban legend quality to them. There's one story called The Mistletoe Bride. This is a Victorian story, but it was even older than the Victorians. The story actually comes from a poem that was written at the very beginning of the 19th century, in 1803 or something like that. The story goes, now one of the many, many variations of the story goes, that there was a young woman named Anne Cope who got married on Christmas Day. And she and her bridegroom came back to this great big country house where they were going to live, and they had the Christmas feast and the wedding feast, and they had all sorts of toasts and champagne toasts and all that. And after dinner, they decided to play a game. And Anne said, oh, let's play hide and seek. I love playing hide and seek. Still love it as an adult. So they picked somebody to be it. And everybody scattered to the corners of this big, huge manor house. And Anne went to a little-used portion of the house and found herself a great big wooden casket, a big, like a storage box. Like I'm trying to think of a hope chest sort of thing, ornately carved wooden hope chest. And she thought to herself, oh, this would be a perfect place to hide. So she climbed in there. Well, it was a little bit too good of a place to hide. It kind of reminds you of the old blonde joke, and I can tell this joke because I'm blonde. What do you call a dead blonde in a closet? Winner of the 1986 Hide and Seek Championships. Yeah, they didn't find Anne until about 50 years later, and somebody was doing some house cleaning in some disused corner of this huge mansion house, and came across this beautifully carved, ornate wooden hope chest, and opened it up and said, oh my God, there's a skeleton in here with a wedding dress on. Oh no, and there's claw marks on the inside of the lid. So this is such an old ghost story that it's kind of more urban legend than ghost story. There's so many variations of this that we're not sure if it actually happened or not. But that's the kind of thing that the Victorians really loved, that juxtaposition of celebration, a wedding feast, this is great, and absolute horror, which is somebody dies during the wedding feast. They just love that play on storytelling, that they love that juxtaposition of beauty and horror at the same time.
Right, yeah. I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah, I came across quite a lot of stories while doing the research for this book.
Now, your book is not just like one story. It's a collection of like the different stories that, we know of, but you kind of added to it.
This one is, yeah. Some of my books are just one, focusing on one thing, but yeah, the Spirits of Christmas is over 120 stories all collected together. There are some that I found in more than one source and adapted for my own use, and there are some stories that I just found occurring once, and I decided that I had to share them with a wider audience. These are such wonderful stories that they deserve some wider appreciation. So some are familiar. I hope some will be completely new to people.
Yeah, I bought the book today on Amazon. Yeah, and I did the digital download and everything, and that way I can read it on my iPad. And I was looking at the page count, and I'm like, well, this has got to be wrong.
What did it say?
I'm trying to pull it up now, and well, it says 4,727.
What?
Yeah.
Are you sure you didn't download a Stephen King book by accident?
No, I downloaded your book. Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't understand this. So I don't know.
That's
It says
strange.
LOC.
They must be very small pages.
I'm assuming because, yeah, I'm on. Well, it was scrolling through because I was scrolling through. And I'm like, there's something wrong with this app, but it says page 326.
Well, let's see here.
How many pages are there to this
version,
book?
What's that?
How many pages are to this? Like if I was to buy the
print version is 235 pages.
Oh, okay. So a good sized book.
Yeah. My books usually tend to. I mean, you've read 44 Years in Darkness and the others, and my books usually tend to run 75 to 78,000 words. But I had so much fun collecting stories and writing these stories for the book that I got done and I looked down at my word count on the corner of the computer and realized that I had sailed past 100,000 words. It's 113,000 words long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how many different stories are
fun.
actually? Yeah. How many different stories are actually in the book?
There are more than 120. I stopped counting at 120, and then there are several different stories in the books. The book is divided into several. Sorry, there's an echo here that's making it hard for me to talk. There are several sections, and there are sections that are not necessarily complete stories, but some anecdotes that push it up over 120 stories.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah. So did you really have to do a lot of research? Like, how long did it take you to get all of these stories to compile to put into the book?
Well, it took me a good several months. I had been working on a different book. I had planned to start work on a different book, and I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing when I came up with the idea for Spirits of Christmas. I work at a library, and I was emptying the book drop, and I happened to pick up one of these Amish Christmas-themed romances, and I looked at it and I said, oh my goodness, that would be wonderful, a collection of ghost stories that happened at Christmas. That sounds like a great plan. So I pitched it to the publisher, and he was all for it. So basically what I did was, like I said, work at a library. I have access to all sorts of books from all over the United States. So I just glutted myself with ghost stories and picked out the ones that happened in December or Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. It probably took me about 6 months of just gorging myself on stories, and then another 3 months of writing the book and putting them all together.
So about 9 months at least.
About that, yeah. Yeah.
So was this in between 44 Years of Darkness?
This was right after 44 Years in Darkness. I released that October 10th last year, and decided to give I decided to give myself a break and not start writing the next book until January of 2017. And pretty soon after January started, I came up with the idea of Spirits of Christmas. And I realized, hey, you know what? If I really buckle down and do this work, I can get it out in time for Christmas, which I did. Lots of fun.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad you did, because I wasn't sure when it was going to be available. I thought, well, surely it's not going to be ready until a little bit before Christmas at least. But I'm actually glad that it's because I'm not going to read it until I'm going on vacation. So this is going to be my plane ride read. And when I come back to the hotel at night. So that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, wonderful. I'm very glad to accompany you on your vacation.
Yes. I did the same thing last year. I took one of Daniel's books, I believe, and I read one of his on the way down and then on the way back. So, it gives me something to do because I don't like flying, so it distracts me. So, yeah. So it works.
Well, I hope you time this right, because one of the stories in there actually deals with a haunted airplane.
Oh, God.
So,
Wow.
so yeah, you need to time this right, dude. There's the crash of Flight 401 was December 29th, 1972. So that's in the middle of the book. So make sure that you read the beginning of the book or the end of the book while you're flying, and don't read the middle of the book, because that's about a plane crash.
So is that in the bleak midwinter or the darkest midnight?
That is in the darkest midnight in December. That's part of the section on Christmas tragedy.
Oh. Okay. I will avoid that one until I return home safely.
That's probably wise.
Yeah. So, and this is your first time, like, actually writing with Christmas, pretty much, right?
Yes, it is. I mean, I had done Ghosts of the Illinois River, which was my first book of nonfiction, and that was an awful lot of fun. But it was my first nonfiction book, so I really wasn't exactly sure of my footing yet. And then I did Fractured Spirits and Hunting Demons and 44 Years in Darkness. So mental illness, demons, and more mental illness. So it was time for me to do something just pure fun, just pure enjoyment.
Now, is this something that you're going to continue doing, like, like a collection of, stories? Yeah,
I really enjoy doing that. I love finding these stories, some of which may not be very well known, and putting them all together in one place for people to look at.
I think that would be good. I think that would be very, very interesting to see. And, I mean, are you going to, if you do dabble in this, are you going to step away from the paranormal and write some sort of some different type of story?
No. I will pretty much always be working in the paranormal, I think, just because it's so fascinating to me. I have the next several books planned, and they are all very much dealing with the paranormal, yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay. I was getting worried, so...
People do not have to worry. I will be writing paranormal-themed books for a very long time, for the foreseeable future.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, because I just, the Christmas thing is okay, only because it still deals with the paranormal, but I can't see you really writing anything else, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure you can, but it just,
I have in
I
the
don't
past.
know, yeah,
Well, thank you.
I've
I think
noticed
that speaks volumes. I think that speaks volumes of your faith in me as a writer of true ghost stories, and I do appreciate that, Brian.
Yeah, well, I try, but yeah. So I've already put it on Facebook, but can you tell everyone where they can find this book?
Of course, yes. It is available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. And I have a special treat for listeners of this show and anybody else who wants to get in on the fun. I have a website, sylviashults.wordpress.com. And I am going to be running a 12 Days of Christmas marathon sort of thing. And I know the 12 Days of Christmas are Christmas Eve to January 6th, which is Epiphany. So I'm aware of that. Thank you. I don't need to be told that. I do know that that's when the 12 Days of Christmas are. But these 12 Days of Christmas are going to start, I think it starts December 12th and runs to Christmas Eve. And on every single one of those days, you can come to sylviashults.wordpress.com. And there will be special Christmas episodes of Lights Out, my True Ghost Story podcast. There will be excerpts from the book. And I am partnering with somebody who has a podcast called Weird Darkness, and he is going to be doing excerpts from the book as well. So there will be a link to that on the WordPress blog, sylviashults.wordpress.com.
That sounds very interesting. I'm gonna have to. Now you're going to be. So you're going to be a guest on the podcast, or?
Not exactly. He bought his own copy of the book, and he was so entranced with it that he asked me for permission to use some of the stories in the podcast. So he's going to be doing quite a lot of the stories from the section called "'Tis the Season," which is ghost stories that happen in December, not necessarily Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So he's going to be playing around with that, and he'll link to my blog, and I'll link to his podcast, and it'll be a double dose of Christmas ghosty goodness.
Fantastic. I like that idea. That's I've never heard of that, of people teaming up from two different, like a podcast and an author. So I'm definitely going to have to pay attention to this podcast. So I think I've heard of the podcast. I think maybe you've mentioned it before.
I haven't. I just started working with this fellow about a week and a half ago. Yeah. But that's what I like about doing Lights Out and having a blog of my own. I enjoy helping other people promote their stuff, and in return they help promote my stuff, and it's a win-win. And when people, especially in the paranormal community, can come together and cooperate, I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yes. I totally agree. And the paranormal community make the best shows ever. I think that any time, and I know I'm going to probably get flack for this, but any time that Sherry and I have interviewed anyone paranormal, it has turned out to be a fantastic show because it's so interesting. Plus, Sherry and I have dabbled in the paranormal, as you know. So it makes for a fun and interesting show. And there's a lot of people out there, especially those that are watching me on Facebook Live, and that know about the paranormal. Either they watch it on TV or they've read a good book. So it's very interesting. I get a lot of viewers when something paranormal is going to happen on my show. So, yeah.
Definitely. I think that is a good thing that has come out of these paranormal shows on TV. I mean, some of them are a little hokey. Some of them are a little misleading, really, because it's paranormal investigations aren't really like that. But what it has done, what these shows have done, is make the idea of having a paranormal experience something that is accepted by mainstream society. Before, even a decade ago, if you said you'd seen a ghost, or if you'd said, "Oh, I think my house is haunted," you'd be looked at like you had grown another head. I mean, you'd be looked at like you were completely crazy. But since these shows have proliferated on TV, I think a lot of people are a lot more willing to say, "Oh, really? Well, tell me your story. Tell me what's been happening. Share your experience with me."
Yeah. I believe that is what has happened. It's a phenomenon, really. It's just, like you said before, you really weren't able to mention it because, probably back in the day, you were either locked up for being crazy or nutso, or they, put you on some sort of medication. But now there's books and TV shows, and it's just its own little community, like you say. So
Absolutely.
It's awesome. Yeah. Now, I know you don't have, I don't know if you have too much time to be watching television or anything, but is there any paranormal shows that you are watching or a fan of, or at least follow?
I don't watch a lot of TV.
Okay.
I gotta say I'm a huge fan of Supernatural, but I know that's not the kind of show you're talking about. I do enjoy every once in a while. Week in Weird will put up a link to some show that they've been affiliated with. That's the show that involves Greg and Dana Newkirk of the Traveling Museum of the Paranormal and the Occult. Super fun folks. They have a lot of really interesting artifacts that they travel around with, and haunted items, and they let people touch them and use them and interact with them for the most part. There are some items you're not allowed to touch, but when they put up a link to a show, then I'll follow the link and watch that for a little bit. But usually, I'd much rather curl up with a book than turn on the TV.
Well, there you go. There's nothing wrong with that. So, yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. So you say you have 3 more books in the works?
There at least, yes. There are 2 I've really got nailed down, and then one that's sort of back burner-ish type thing. The next one I'm going to be doing, I probably shouldn't be talking about this too loud because I haven't really cleared this with my publisher yet, but I had the idea of doing a Ghost a Day book. Yeah, that's going to be the next one. And then I still haven't completely put aside the idea of doing haunted zoos. But I think that's going to morph into haunted zoos, museums, and amusement parks. I'm going to put those all into one book. And boy, I've got some fun stories for that already.
That's very interesting. Oh, I can't wait for that one. Yeah.
Super, super fun. Just the other day, I was messing around on, I think it was MysteriousUniverse.org. Pretty sure it was Mysterious Universe. At any rate, they had one of these series of, a dozen ghost pictures you won't believe are real, or a dozen ghost pictures that'll make you believe in the paranormal, whatever. But they showed this absolutely stunning picture of, it was a guy, an elderly gentleman, late 60s, early 70s, and he had a woman on each side of him, and they're standing next to a tall privet hedge. And the caption of the photo was this gentleman, I just remember his name offhand, but this gentleman in the mid-50s or whatever had been institutionalized because he said he was seeing things. So his family put him in the institution, came to visit him, but still he was institutionalized. The interesting thing about the photograph is that to the left of the woman standing on the left, there's the man and two women on either side of him. And then to the left, there is a magnificent rearing grizzly bear. Translucent. You can see the hedge through the bear. But there's this bear standing to its full height, and it's about a foot taller than the woman next to it. And whoever took the picture obviously didn't see the bear standing there. But, the caption of the picture said, this guy was put into an insane asylum because he said he was seeing things. What exactly was he seeing?
Wow.
Yeah. Even though it's not technically, zoo or whatever, I think that deserves to be in the book, too.
Yeah. You don't hear a lot of stories about, like, ghosts of animals and, stuff like that. It's always, either a demon or a spirit or a person or, stuff like that. So,
right. We're so human-centric that we forget.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I can't wait for that one. So.
Thank you. Yeah, I've already started collecting stories for it. There is a phantom lioness at the Cleveland Zoo that will follow investigators around and huff and cough at them. There's all sorts of animal ghosts around, and a lot of them are connected to zoos or circuses or whatever.
Mm.
I'm not going to tell all my stories because I'm going to save that for the show that you have me on after that book comes out.
That's right. Yeah, no. Don't tell me anymore. So, But I do believe, I think I remember you telling us that it was going to be, like, animal related or something. I think the last time you were on.
That's been pushed aside in favor of Spirits of Christmas and this Ghost Today book, but it's coming. It's coming on down the pike.
Good. So I have all these people watching on Facebook Live, so hello to everyone and listening. If anyone has any questions for Sylvia, pipe up now. So
absolutely, yes. Hello, thank you so much for watching. And lay them on me.
Anybody, shout them out. Come on. I think they're just all just sitting there just watching. Because normally
they're
normally
entranced by your magnetic personality.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. So, So how did your Halloween go? I was stalking your Facebook and I saw different pictures and stuff. So you were a busy girl. Yes.
October was a pretty hopping month. I did get to go on a couple of investigations. As a matter of fact, I was on an investigation just this past Sunday. I was very excited about this. Now, this is where the true life paranormal shows on TV and I are going to veer wildly in different directions because, all right, so I was supposed to do this investigation of a private home in Davenport, Iowa. And I had heard stories about this house. I had talked to the homeowner. And for one of my lights out shows, I put up this conversation that I had with the homeowner saying, oh my gosh, this is such a horrifying place. There's so much activity. People have been hurt. People have been dragged out of bed. People have been dragged out down the hallway. All these things that have happened in the house. So I've been desperate to get into this house for gosh, like 3 years now. And I finally there's a friend of mine that lives right across the street. So he texted me and he said, if you want to get into this house, you need to do it right away because it's going up for auction. It's going to be sold December 5th. And it's empty right now, and there's no power to it. So bring flashlights. So I said, oh, boy, here's my chance. This is great. So I got in touch with a group, an investigating group that is in the Quad Cities. And I invited them to this house. I said, oh, boy, all this stuff went on, and here's the background. Here's what's been happening in the house. And we had the homeowner's boyfriend take us on a tour of the house, and he told us his experiences in the house. And he left us the key, and he went off to do his own thing, and it was myself and 3 other investigators there. And absolutely nothing happened. I was so distressed because I apologized to the guys. I'm like, guys, I am super sorry about this. I've been talking this up to you for weeks, and I've told you all these things that have been happening in the house, and we get there, and it's just, forgive the expression, but it's just dead inside. And nothing happened, nothing going on. So we did have some good communication through a spirit box and the Spiritus app, which is what one of the investigators likes to use. So he said, don't worry about it. We got some good communication. And I was still, a bit embarrassed, but I reminded myself, and we reminded each other, that they're not circus animals. These are spirits. They've got their own personalities, and they just weren't particularly active that night. And, if you have a pond in which there are muskie, and people have caught muskie in the pond before, and you go with your fishing rods and your bait and everything, and you fish for a week straight and you don't catch any muskie, does that mean there are no muskie in the pond? Of course it doesn't. It just means that you personally didn't catch any muskie. So even though it was a disappointment, I finally did get to go in there, which was a source of satisfaction to me.
Awesome. Well, I mean, it stinks that nothing happened, but at least to be able to go in there.
I did manage to really freak myself out, though. If I'm with somebody, I won't go into a dark place all on my own because I'm a big scaredy cat. But if I'm with somebody else, I'm absolutely fearless. So we were down in the basement of the house, and we were working with the Spiritus app, which is super loud. And I was getting uncomfortable with the loudness. I mean, physically uncomfortable with the loudness of it. So I talked to one of the other investigators, and I was like, hey, why don't you and I go up to the attic? And there's been activity up there. And we'll just go up, just the 2 of us. We'll just do some EVP work. We'll just record. We won't use any ghost box. We won't use anything like that. We'll just sit up there, and we'll just be quiet for a while, and we'll just record and see what happens. So the spirit in the attic is ostensibly the spirit of a little boy, and the 15-year-old kid that used to live in the house said that he and his friends had slept up in the attic, and they had heard the little boy bouncing a ball on the attic floor. So Nick and I go up, and I turn on my recorder, and I said, hello, I understand there's the spirit of a little child up here, a little boy who likes to play ball. We're not here to hurt you. We're just here to talk to you. So if you want to play with your ball, please come on out and play with us. And I turned to Nick and I said, okay, I officially just creeped myself out by saying that out loud. Come on out and play with us. Whoa.
Lord.
Not the right thing to say in a dark attic.
Yeah, no. Okay, questions. Oh my goodness. Here we go.
Yay!
We have questions. Let's see here. Where is it? Okay, so Diane Pate, she's a local. She says, I'm interested in asking Sylvia a question. I'm trying to write a book about my psychic experiences. I'm having difficulty filling the page with each story. It's a collection. Also, when I'm finished, how do I find a publisher?
Those are both very good questions. Diane, I'm glad you asked those questions. They're interesting. We'll do the boring one first. I would say looking for a publisher is the best way to go about it is to either go to your local public librarian here putting in a plug for libraries, get a copy of Writer's Market. They'll have it on the shelf. You can check it out. They'll have the most recent edition. And just go through small publishers. They're going to have a section in the book about small presses. And just flip through that and see if there are any, and there will be, see if there are any publishers there that publish what it is you write. Well, we're looking for alternative stuff. We're looking for paranormal stuff. We're looking for new age stuff. And query those publishers first. Just introduce yourself, write a letter, say, hey, this is me, hey, this is what I've done. Would you like to take a look at it? As far as putting stories on the page, I would say that it's a very good thing to give the reader a sense of who you are, not only as a psychic, not only as through the experiences that you've had, but as a person. What is in your makeup that led you to have these experiences? How have you reacted to these experiences? If you have been led to help people, tell what that's like. Tell what it's like to tell what it feels like to give someone information that helps them or brings them comfort from the other side. Whatever book you're working on, it's going to be so much better if you put some of yourself onto the page. It's going to be more interesting for your readers as well. Don't just say, this happened, this happened, this happened. Say, this happened and this is how I felt about it. I had the idea to do this, and then this happened, and this was my reaction to it. You see?
Good advice.
I hope that helped.
Yes. So, all right. So the next one is Daniel Payton. We all know Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
Daniel said that Daniel said he met some ghost hunters who are working on developing a TV show called Wrestling with Ghosts. They said that they will be heading
nice.
They will be heading for Peoria soon to ghost hunt. Yeah. So I don't know if you might want to check that out. Wrestling with Ghosts. Yes. That's the name of the TV show. Yeah.
Wrestling.
I wonder why they're heading to Peoria. I have no idea. All right.
Yeah. All right. Does he have any more information about this, like a website or anything?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see.
I mean, I'm sure if I go to Google and just type this in, perhaps I might find them. But if they have a website, that would be even better if you could point me in that direction.
I'm not seeing anything yet from Daniel. There's a delay with the Facebook Live, so we'll just wait for him to respond back to that. But he also said that if you need a good book to cuddle up with, he recommends you read The Winter Wizard 2, which he wrote himself, because Sylvia is one of the characters in the book.
What?
Yeah.
Cool. How do you spell Daniel's last name?
Peyton, Peyton.
Peyton.
So that book,
Okay.
yes, that book is on Amazon. It is available because that's part of the challenge that we had with all authors. He wrote a story with yes, but he created another book to go with the first one. So not only did he put you as a character, a small little part in there, but a very important part, I might add. He also put another author of ours, Richard Fisher, in there.
Okay.
So yeah, he kind of threw a lot of people into that book. It was very interesting. So yeah, you're gonna have to check it out.
Marvelous. Yeah, I will.
Let's see. Diane says thank you. Daniel says, I'm afraid I don't have any info myself, but he says Google wrestling with ghosts. I might have to do the same thing. See if we can get some information. So, yes. Dan says she happens to be a ghost in the book. You are a ghost in the book.
Nice. I've made the big time at last.
Yes. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So I almost forgot to mention that. I was going to mention that to you, but talk about other things. So, well, I'm very happy that you have come out with this book. I cannot wait to read it, and of course, everyone listening and watching the show, I implore you to read this book. Because it seems fantastic. So yes, lady, I'm knowing. And everyone
it's a whole bunch of fun.
There. Yes, it seems that. I was kind of skimming through the pages, like I said, because I don't want to read too soon. But I know there's a lot of it, so I know, because just my luck, I'll get to that part, as I'm flying down to Florida, and I'm just be like, oh man. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, and the crash happened in Florida too. So yay.
I think I'm going to cancel my vacation.
You shouldn't. Don't cancel your vacation on my behalf. No. No,
I can't. I can't do that. I can't do that. I've waited long enough for this vacation. So, yeah, I'm going.
There you go. Right on.
But I know what part is in the book, so I'll just skip that part, or I will.
Yeah, just stay away from Christmas tragedy.
Yeah.
I actually did have if people are interested in the nuts and bolts and guts of writing a book, I'll share this with you guys. There was one section of the book, the section on Christmas tragedies, The Darkest Midnight in December, that I really had a hard time writing. As I said, I divided the book into separate sections just for ease of reading and for ease of my writing it, keeping all the stories in a manageable tangle. So I finished all the other 6 sections first, and then I decided I wrote the last section I wrote. It's not the last section of the book, but it's the last section I wrote was The Darkest Midnight in December. And I just arranged the stories in chronological order as they happened. And I sat down for a weekend, and I said, all right, I'm just going to get a whole bunch of this stuff done. I'm just going to plow my way through it, and then, hey, it'll be done. The book will be done. I'll be able to turn it into the publisher. It'll be great. So I spent most of Saturday writing, and I was sick to my stomach. I didn't sleep well Saturday night. I woke up with a headache. I had a headache that plagued me for half of Sunday. So what I did actually was I went to my ghost hunting supplies and I brought out my chunk of black tourmaline. And I had that on my desk as I was taking notes. And then when I went to actually write each story, I held the black tourmaline in my left hand while I wrote with my right hand. And black tourmaline is a stone that drives away negative energy. So it honestly helped. The headache went away. I slept better that night. I was able to get through the entire section without any further physical problems.
Hmm.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Yeah,
The fun stuff you learn when you chase ghosts.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known that. So yeah, very interesting. I have to do it again at some point. So I really do. I had a lot of fun. So yeah. But speaking of my experience, everyone can. I'm going to have to post it again, but I did do an interview with Sylvia Shults for her Lights Out episode. And so if anyone wants to hear my experience, along with Sherry, because Sherry was with me, I'm going to have to post that episode because everyone, I think, should listen to that episode. So, and every other episode that she's ever done. So, yeah.
I just posted number 50. I'm so pleased.
Wow. I'm going to have to. I was listening to a couple of them when in between working and doing the show and whatever. So I have
your
to get
copious
back
amounts
to
of spare time.
Yeah, I know it. But yeah. So I'm going to have to start posting them for other people to watch. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I did do something a little special for episode number 50. There is, I know you're way off on the East Coast there, but there is a very famous Chicago phantom hitchhiker called Resurrection Mary. And I was at the Chicago Ghost Con in October, early October this year. And I ran into somebody who actually saw Resurrection Mary, had his own experience with her. So I recorded him telling his story, and I said, all right, that's it. That has got to be episode 50. There's a little special something for my audience. I got to do the Resurrection Mary show.
Oh, I'm definitely going to have to listen to that. So.
Yeah, it's a little bitty short one. 15 minutes long, I think.
Awesome. I could speak to you all night. Unfortunately, technology does not allow me to because this thing was over 4 minutes ago, but that's okay.
Really? Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's perfectly fine. We always run over when we talk to you, so it's not a problem whatsoever.
Time always goes so fast because it's such a pleasure to chat with you.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's a collection of different things, and we just get too involved in what we're talking about, and it just time flies. So
yes.
So like I said, yeah. So like now, can people buy the book besides Amazon.com and Barnes & Nobles? Can they go to SylviaShults.com? Will it give them information if they go there? Or no?
Well, actually, that link will just lead you right to Amazon, but you can also get it from Whitechapel Press, which is the publisher. I know some people just don't like dealing with Amazon, and that's totally fine, but the publisher is Whitechapel Press, and on their website you can find it.
Perfect.
And it is available through Barnes & Noble. I'm going to be doing a book signing at the Peoria Barnes & Noble here next Friday, week from yesterday.
Well, unfortunately, I won't be there, but yeah.
Bummer.
All right. I know. I'll get out there one of these days. All right. Well, before it disconnects you and me, like I said, I could talk to you for hours. I'm sure of it. So for everyone watching and listening, you can go to Amazon.com. You can go to the links that I've posted on our Facebook wall, facebook.com/Brian.Sherry Show. And of course, you can look at Sylvia Shults' Facebook as well, Sylvia Shults. Buy the book, leave a review once you've read it, please.
Please,
Yes,
please. That's
do.
very, very helpful. And visit
Yes.
sylviashults.wordpress.com for Christmas episodes of Lights Out and excerpts from the book.
You're going to have to send me a link to that so that I can post that. So
I shall.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Sylvia, for coming on and talking with me about this book.
Absolutely, and say hi to Sherry. I'm sorry I missed her again.
Oh, I will. I will. Yeah.
I've been on your show
know.
like 4 or 5 times, and I think she's been on once. She's joined us once or twice, I think.
Yeah, in the beginning, yeah. I think you were on a couple of times, but yeah, no, she's moving. So unfortunately, she was supposed to have internet. Yeah, she was supposed to have internet, or they were supposed to come and hook it up either yesterday or today, and then they called and said, "Oh no, we moved it to Monday." So she's like,
"Wow,
oh, no,
that's going to put a damper on things."
I know it.
Well, we'll let her slide for that.
She is listening. Yeah.
Well, we'll let her slide for getting
so.
married July 30th, and we'll let her slide for not having internet. Okay.
Yeah. She is listening, so.
Hi, Sherry.
Yes. All right. Well, you have a fantastic night, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to be talking to you pretty soon when the next book comes out. So.
Absolutely.
All right. All right, Sylvia, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brian, and thank you, everyone who tuned in.
Yes. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. All right, everyone, I am out of here only because it is way past 10 o'clock. So, and don't forget, tomorrow is our last show. Sylvia was supposed to be our last show until my guest last night switched it to Sunday. So now I'm forced to do a show tomorrow, which normally we don't do. So check out that show, Arts and Entertainment here in the Berkshires. So that's what the topic is. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. So we'll see what's so entertaining about the Berkshires. So, yeah. And it's going to be our last show for the season. We are done. Finished. So, make sure you check it out. So, I want to say goodnight to Sherry. I will talk to you tomorrow. I know you were listening during the whole show, so thank God you were able to at least listen to the show. And again, thank you, Sylvia Shults, for coming on and talking with me and, of course, answering everyone's questions. I can't wait for you to come back on when your next book comes out. Yeah, it's just so exciting to have you on the show. And Daniel Payton. So, yeah. So that's it. There it is. You can find her at sylviashults.wordpress.com and get those little extra special goodies there on that site. So I'm definitely going to have to check it out. All right, everyone. I am signing off, and have a fantastic weekend. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow. 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. is tomorrow's show, not 9 o'clock. So please remember that. I will be posting it. All right, let's get out of here.
You've been listening to The Brian and Sherry Show with Brian Shepard and Sherry Johnson. Brought to you weekly on Blog Talk Radio, Facebook, YouTube, and on the Brian and Sherry app. Remember to visit briansherryshow.com for more. Thank you, and good night.